So if you ask me to describe Davido's 5 album in one word, I think the word that readily comes to mind is underwhelming. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that the album was a flop or it was a bad album. But as a body of work, it didn't quite, give me what I was looking for or what many listeners were anticipating. Because again, there was a lot of hype for the album. For one, the release date was postponed about 2 or 3 different times because of several things. And for me, I think it felt like Davido was traveling around the world as he always does, being a Mobabolo that he is. And for every place he goes to, he probably meets a new artist. The artist sings and he's like, do you know what? Let's do something together. Or any of his friends that, he visits and any of those countries that he travels to, and he's like, let's do something together. Individually, many of these songs really make sense. I enjoy them individually. But as a body of work, there was no cohesion between the tracks. There was really no central theme or central message. Now, again, there was a central message at the beginning of the album, but going down the line, it wasn't substantial. It didn't hold a lot of water. Welcome to Relufe Music Review, a show where we review Nigerian music in all of its glory and expression. I am Theophilus Olayanju, and I bring you all the teasers concerning Nigerian music, ranging from singles to albums to EPs and even music videos. Please know that every of my opinion is based on my bias and my knowledge, even though I try to be constructively objective. With that out of the way, let's get right into the body of work for today. The body of work I'm going to be reviewing is Davido's 5 album. And of course, this is his 5th album, and he has had a good run. There's been a lot of marketing, a lot of publicity, a lot of hype around this album. It's been going everywhere, just making so much noise about it, which I really, really appreciate. I mean, one of the things I say, I'm a proponent of making the loudest noise. Be your loudest cheerleader. Nobody's going to hype you as much as you want to be hyped, right? And but I gotta say, the album didn't do as much as I expected. It was underwhelming. I didn't feel it. Trust me, it took this long for me to make a review because I had to really listen to it over and over and over again. Different levels, doing different things, and it still felt the same way. So I usually say on this channel that the best way to hook us down on any body of work, whether an album or an EP, is to have your first 3 tracks really do justice to us. Let your first 3 tracks lead us into the central theme of the body of work, also introduce us to the vibe and the listening experience that the body of work gives to us. And I like the opening track for something. Number one, it was the opening track titled 5 by Alhanism. It was performed by Miriam Bokar Hassan. One thing about this is the opening track sounds so grand and inspirational. I felt like I was listening to IB Quick. Shout out to IB Quick, by the way. She's one of my favorite, poet and spoken word artists. I like the spoken word poetry. It was amazing. It was inspirational. It basically is about the story of, Davido. It was all about Davido, his family, his journey, his story, and his vibe, who he is, his legacy, as it were. I mean, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful track. It was a good one. Easily, I think it's one of my favorite, opening tracks of any album or EP this year yet. So yeah, thumbs up to Bokar Hassan for that amazing rendition, and of course thumbs up to Davido. I'm sure you guys did that together. And of course, leading into the song, we had Anything by Davido. It was his usual boasting and bravado. I mean, yeah, it's Davido. Davido doesn't really have a lot of lyrical prowess when it comes to his lines. His lines is not as poetic or as grand with his lines like a whole number of other artists that we know. However, it wasn't so bad. And of course, Be There Still, I like Be There Still because it's such a bop, right? Not so much to say about it. As an individual track, I really like it. It's danceable. Really, I actually like that song when it came out as a single before the album was released. So yeah, it's an amazing song. It was a beautiful song. And then CFMF. Now, I gotta say something. Davido capped a lot in this track. For one, what do you mean by you started from Face Me, I Face You? Guy, you were born with a golden spoon, not even a silver spoon in your mouth. You were born with a golden spoon. You were what we call what's the word again? What's the term? children that were funds baby or something like that. You were a rich, you are a mobabolo, so please, enough of the cap. I beg. It was quite fake. It didn't feel like you felt like you were singing for another person. Unless that was what you're saying, you're singing about another person. But if it was you, nah, it didn't enter. It didn't enter, brother. Yeah, it was good. 10 Kilo. 10 Kilo is one of my favorite songs from the album. I love the album. And I know I have seen a number of outbursts on social media where they're saying it was body shaming. I'm like, yo, he was basically telling her that, oh, I love your body the way your body is. I like your body does a lot to me. Your body makes me feel some type of way. I think he was just singing about his preference of her body. Everybody has a preference, so please, there was nothing wrong in saying she's honorable or she's a fatty bomb bomb. There was really nothing wrong with it. I do not think it's body shaming. Again, people are easily triggered on social media, so yeah, that's their business, anyways. And I mean, following 10 Kilo is Offer Me. Victoria Monet on that song, beautiful. The song was such a perfect feature. I mean, the voice, the energy, the synchronization, all blended together. I like that song as well. One of my favorite songs from that album is Don't Know. Yo, I like it because the beat is probably one of the sweetest beats from that album. Aside from Titanium with Chris Brown, I like the song with Titanium. I had it with Chris Brown. But Don't Know is a song that I think it's one song that I can play over and over and over again from that album. I'm sure it's the song that I played the most on that album. Then I think followed by Titanium. Then of course followed by The Beginning, the first song on the album, but 5 by Alhanism, right? Don't Know is such a bop. Generally, I think that as a body of work, I have listened to other bodies of work, whether EP or albums, and I've enjoyed them as a complete work of art, right? I didn't feel the same way with Davido's album. It was overhyped. I'm not gonna lie, it was overhyped. Sorry to the 30 BG gang. He did a good job, no doubt, but it was really overhyped. And again, there were individual songs that really made sense. For example, Funds was a really beautiful song. Awuke was such a beautiful song as well. Bidesti was such a beautiful song. Then another song that I really, really like is the one that he had with Tacey. And I think the title of the song is Loverboy. Loverboy featuring Tacey and Daju. Beautiful, beautiful song. I really like that song so much. I think I've also played that song a number of times. Tacey is such an amazing artist. There was no better person to feature on that song than Tacey, because Tacey is that artist that will sing a love song to you, and even though he's a Yoruba demon, you'll still fall in love with him. That's the kind of vibe Tacey brings into the music. And of course, I believe that the most streamed song on that album, which also record has it, is With You featuring Omale. See, any song that has Omale in it, any feature that has Omale in it, is definitely going to be, he's going to definitely break record. Omale is that guy that you didn't know you need on an album or on a song until he's on that song. And I also think that song With You featuring Omale is also one of the most streamed songs on that album. He's breaking a lot of records, topping a lot of charts as it were. That song is such a beautiful song. Number one, the thing about this song is the beat is beautiful. Like tip tap bop. Like you can't listen to this song and not vibe. Omale does that. Omale's lyrics and his voice, his soft voice, his beautiful rendition, his calm demeanor, and his vibe in that song was beautiful. Davido's voice, in collaboration, complemented Omale's vibe. It was such a beautiful song. I like that song. Yeah, it's a 17-track album. I can boldly say that about let's just say 10 tracks really did it for me. Every other, as a body of work again, not so much. But individual songs, I could pick about 10 tracks that made sense. And one thing I like about Titanium, especially with Chris Brown in it being featured, is having someone like Chris Brown, who is an amazing artist. I think Chris Brown is the most perfect artist in the world. And here's why. He can dance, he can sing, he can act, he can rap, he can act movies, he can play instruments, he can dance Nigerian to African dances. If you ask me, he's the most perfect artist in the world. Maybe I'm capping, but yes, I said what I said. Go to court if you don't agree with me. Chris Brown being an international artist, I know, it didn't feel like they were worlds apart. It felt like Chris Brown is part of us. As much as, I mean, you could tell the difference that, oh, this person is not an Afrobeat person, but you could tell that it was a very good feature. It was a very good combination, collaboration. It was beautiful. It was seamless. I love that about it. A big shout out to Chris Brown. That was really amazing. Thank you so much for again, because we've been seeing a lot of features and collaborations that Chris Brown has been having with Afrobeat and even other African artists. It's been amazing so far. One other song I also like is Holy Water with Musa Keys and Victonium. Generally, as much as the message of the album wasn't really passed across, unless the message of the album was just centered around Davido, but generally the beats of most songs, most of the tracks were really on point. The beats were really interesting. That's why I said I'll pick maybe 10 out of the 17 tracks. I really like them so much. In my opinion, again, do not forget, every of my opinion is based on my personal bias and knowledge. In my opinion, very subjective. You can let me know what you think in the comment section. In my opinion, I think A Good Time and A Better Time were a better body of work than 5. 5 was just there. It was really there. One would think that with the kind of growth, exposure, and influence or access to resources that Davido has, would see more from him. I think he has gotten to a point where he's just freestyling. He's just doing his thing. He's not really being thoughtful, or he's not putting so much effort into it anymore. He's just vibing, which is not bad. But if it has to come to relevance and how good your sound is, your lyrics are, I think he needs more work with his lyrics and with his overall message. It would be unfair of me not to acknowledge his declaration of self-worth and dominance. I'm not gonna lie, Davido has really given his all. We have seen him grown over the years. Earlier in his musical career, we could see a lot of people, one of the things that people ridiculed him with was his husky voice. People, said he sang like a frog. And I like the fact that he stayed true to himself. He didn't let that deter him. He didn't let that, discourage him. He didn't even try to sound any other way. He stayed true to his person. And I like that about him. I honestly, regardless of how I feel about this album, I feel so much, gratitude for his growth. I am proud of how much he has pushed himself in the last 12 years. He has gone ahead to, show to the world that he can do it, that he is the greatness that he calls himself. And it's obvious in the successes he has seen in his musical career, and even as a person, even as a celebrity, as an artist. We can see that in his musical career. He's one of the most recognized and most followed artists in the world, from out of Africa, of course. And of course, people say the top 3 and all of that. And yes, he deserves that spot. He deserves the spot. He deserves that, that highlight that he's enjoying, because he's an hardworking fellow. He's doing great. He might not be the best lyricist. He might not write the best lyrics. He might not have the best voice. But you cannot again, I say, you cannot deny the fact that he's hardworking, he's creative, he's smart, and he's really a good person as a whole. So yeah, I really appreciate that about him, even though this album, again, didn't do so much for me. The overall message wasn't there for me. I didn't feel it. So yeah, overall rating that I will give this album is a 7 over 10. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and of course, if there are any albums or body of work that you love us to review on Relufe Music Review, please drop it in the comment section. Once again, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Relufe TV. Share, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Relufe TV. Until I come your way again on another episode of Relufe Music Review. Keep watching.